We're going to read John's account of the crucifixion, starting with verse 16 in the Gospel of John. It says this: Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified. So the soldiers took charge of Jesus. Carrying his own cross, he went out to the place of the skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. Here they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle. Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It read, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Many of the Jews read this sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. The chief priests of the Jews protested to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews," but this man claimed to be King of the Jews. Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." When the soldiers crucified Jesus, they took his clothes, dividing them into 4 shares, one for each of them. With the undergarment remaining, this garment was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. "Let's not tear it," they said to one another. "Let's divide it by lot." This happened that the scripture might be fulfilled, which said, "They divided my garments among them and cast lots for my clothing." So this is what the soldiers did. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. Later, knowing that all was completed, and so that scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, "I am thirsty." A jar of wine vinegar was there, so they soaked a sponge in it and put the sponge on a stalk of hyssop plant and lifted it to Jesus' lips. When he had received the drink, Jesus said, "It is finished." With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Now it was the day of preparation, and the next day was to be a special Sabbath because the Jews did not want the bodies left on the crosses during the Sabbath. They asked Pilate to have the legs broken and the bodies taken down. The soldiers therefore came and broke the legs of the first man who had been crucified with Jesus, and those of the other. But when they came to Jesus and found that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. Instead, one of the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a spear, bringing a sudden flow of blood and water. The man who saw it has given testimony, and his testimony is true. He knows that he tells the truth, and he testifies so that you also may believe. These things had happened so that the scripture would be fulfilled. Not one of his bones will be broken. And as another scripture says, they will look on the one they have pierced. I want to
That day was every mother's worst nightmare. How could any court come to such an unjust decision? How could they crucify my Jesus, my firstborn son? As I watched him die, my son was the kindest, most gentle man I have ever known. His heart was so full of love for people. He just wanted to help them and heal them. I watched him die, and my mind was filled with memories. One night, I was visited by the angel. He told me I would be pregnant before I'd ever known a man. Imagine. Oh, and telling Joseph was the hardest thing I have ever done. Oh, I wish Joseph was with me at that cross. I could have used his emotional strength and his love. And then I remembered what a good son Jesus was. He took care of us after Joseph died. Who would crucify such a good man? And then my mind wandered to the time we were in Jerusalem and we left him there when he was just a boy. He said he needed to be in his Father's house. We knew he was special. We knew he was an amazing gift from God himself. And that day reminded me of how truly amazing he was. He impressed the rabbis that day. And yet, some of the ones he impressed conspired to kill him. Watching him die that way was so personal. It was so humiliating for him. Oh, I hurt so deeply for him. It was as though they were killing me. He loved me so much. And that brought me to a day he let me impose upon him. We were all at a wedding in Cana of Galilee. There were so many people, and the family had run out of wine. I knew he could help, and I asked. And he indulged his mother. That was the best wine I have ever tasted. Oh, I loved him so. And he loved me so. I will never be the same watching my son be crucified. I cannot begin to explain the deep pain, the social disgrace, the humiliation, the loss. It was as though my heart was ripped out. Life will never be